How do you define a thief? Someone that comes up from behind and mugs you of all that you have. It's probably an odd thing to ask, but I think it's important to say because if I walked up this mountain for you, I would rob you of that experience. I'd rob you of the joy of overcoming. I'd rob you of the struggle of falling short. I'd rob you of the bruises, the cuts on the arm, the blistered feet that proves that it isn't an easy thing. So from this point forward, I want to establish a new rule. No more right, no more wrong, just action. If you're writing in the graph, if you're reading what you've wrote, and if you're discussing how you're growing, then you're right on track. See, there's an infinite amount of questions that could come up. Like, how do I capture? How much do I capture? How often do I capture? What's important to capture? What's not important to capture? How much do I know when I've captured enough? How do I know when I haven't captured enough? What happens if I don't capture enough? Where do all the ideas end up? How will I process them when I'm ready? How do I bring them into Rome? Where do they live in Rome? What do I do with them? And that's just the fleeting notes. Do you see why I can't just write an article about this? And trust me, everyone's been asking me to. But I don't want to rob anyone of this gift, this journey to the top of the mountain. And I keep using that analogy, but it's like riding a bike. You only need to do it once. You see, the only way you'll ever answer all of these questions is by simply writing each day and then allowing for the compounding of what you've learned to start curling inwards. If you ask 10 people, you'd get 10 different answers. But if you ask yourself, you'll get one answer. And that's what I'm here to do. I want to guide you up the rocky road. We'll avoid the pitfalls, of course, and we'll enjoy the plateaus. But eventually, I want to take you to that place where you never need to ask anyone else for the answers ever again. And it took RBC3 24 days when everything came together and the click, 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 clicking began, which makes sense since that's literally the halfway mark through the 42 days. So what's my biggest challenge? It isn't getting you up to the top of the mountain. No, it's getting you to believe that you can. Let's do something that you won't fully understand until Saturday. Open up the graph and go to your page. Let's fire off day 10's template. Great. Now remember to start with the current timestamp. Always. Dopamine. Come on. Now let's walk through this. You're going to see a quote from an article that I'd like for you to capture. Underneath, you have 2 places to write with timers above them. First, in less than 100 characters, write what this quote reminds you of in 1 minute. Now, this is not a literature note. This is not rewriting what the quote means in your own words. This is just writing about what this reminds you of. What's resonating with what you already know? What does this sort of make you think of? Quick, in less than 100 characters. And I know it's not much room to move around, but be concise. And when you're ready to start, hit the timer and go for 1 minute. Stay underneath 100 characters. And after you're done with that, go to the second question, and now you'll have much more room to explore in a 5-minute timer. Again, this is not a literature note, so you're not extracting what the author is saying, but you're focused on what this quote reminds you of. What does this quote mean in context to everything that isn't this quote? Does it touch upon ideas that you've been thinking about lately? Does it remind you of another article or idea that you've been reading or exploring? Go deeper to explore all the different ways that this reminds you of some other thing. How can you connect them? Where is this taking you? Where is this quote leading you towards? And as you finish that off, take the time to see if you can add a bit more context. See, I want you to write at least 200 words, and more the better. But remember, you have a limited time of 5 minutes to explore this idea. And I understand that it's difficult to extract much with a quote out of context, but we've got this whole week to explore exactly how to capture. But for now, let's focus on how much to capture. I'll see you in the guided writing exercise where I'll walk you through this in real time.